So I've marked your written analysis based on our project 4, looking at grunge and David Carson, and you're going to have a new post on the classroom. Remember, this links to the assessment objectives, assessment objective 1, developing ideas through investigations demonstrating critical understanding of sources. So the designs that I gave you, or you found, to do with David Carson, they are your sources. And the evidence that you're trying to show is linked to the taxonomy, the words in this yellow section. So I have marked your work. You're going to see your name here. You'll see a grade from 0 to 9 here. And then you'll see your feedback improvement letters in this section. Each letter relates to improvements here. So you need to see which letters you've been given and improve based on what it says. All students at the bottom of this slide, all of you need to make sure how you present this work digitally. You use the same font size. I'm suggesting you use the font Helvetica Neue, and you use a font point size between 8 and 12. It's also really important that any found information or found quotes is visually distinguishable from your own opinion. So what I have done is I've used a different color. You also need to understand that these slides, this is my example of the same task that you did. Each of these slides, when we print them out eventually and put them onto design sheets, takes up a quarter of the space. So if I made 4 slides, if I put them together on a design sheet, it would look something like this. So I want you to really consider how you are laying out your digital work. Before the distance learning started, I wanted to teach you how to do this. This was a new way of laying things out, because usually we do stuff by hand and then we print off digital work and images and we do our annotation by hand. However, I wanted you to see another way of laying things out. Some of you might prefer this. For this project, I want you all to type whenever you do written analysis. So I know some of you used Cami, but I'd like you to convert that and type it. This is my example. This is a level 9 example. As you can see, I've got a very clear title at the top, Project 4 Grunge Design. This section's about David Carson and it's written analysis. So instantly, it's a small title, it doesn't take up space. It's not about it looking pretty. Pretty doesn't get any marks. What gets marks is clear evidence linked to the taxonomy. So when I look at my example, mine is not clumsy or minimal or superficial or simplistic. It's getting into this language here. It's advanced, it's convincing. These are the words that I'm looking at, because 15 last year out of 18 marks was a level 9. So as you can see in this example, I'm going to zoom in each section. The blue here, I've changed it to red, but this red section, anything in red is not my opinion. So there are quotes here. This is a quote by David Carson, and then I have interpreted the quote here. This is a design, an editorial design by David Carson, and I have analyzed that here. This is a quote from David Carson about this design, and I have talked about this in this section. So I've not just stuck it in randomly, I have connected it. On this side, this is my own opinion about this design. This is found information, and I've clearly identified it as such. I've also put some annotation bullet points to do with sections here using art language. You must make sure you use all of the links provided when I set you an assignment. Some of you did this and it was clear in what I read. Others really need to make sure that you use the links. So the links here to the David Carson websites, interviews and videos are a starting point. You can find other ones, but you must use every source that I give you at the start to help you with your written analysis. This will get you more marks. I was able to extract information from these websites to help me understand David Carson and the grunge style better. Another thing that you must make sure you do is you revisit the videos to do with the design principles and visual elements. So here are the videos, they're on the analysis sheet. You need to revisit these to make sure you are extracting key language and using relevant language when you're analyzing your designs. You should also try and look at the sentence starters. So the sentence starters in this section here are all to do with when you're talking about someone else's work. You can use these sentence starters, or you can use this pink side here, the research side, with the questions. This will support your written analysis. And you must be consistent. Remember, once you get used to what a level 9, an 8 or 7 written analysis and visual analysis looks like, remember that and use it every time we do a project. So if this is a style that works for you, keep using it. Okay, so this example, I then went into depth here with written analysis about this editorial design, which I found out this is found information. I found out that this was the cover for a section in the magazine, not the actual cover of the magazine, but a cover section within the magazine before there was an interview with Morrissey. The language that's used here is the interview that was conducted by one of the Raygun employees, and David Carson has then interpreted that and created this visual design. These are my own visual responses here using techniques we have learnt, and then this is a larger version here. This version here, I've just screenshotted it so you could see it, and screenshots will be used in the Google Slides. However, I would print this off as an A3 or A4 PDF in Photoshop and then spray mount it on my design sheet. For now, you're just going to be working digitally. I don't want you to print anything, but this example on this screen is a level 9 written and visual analysis of grunge design and David Carson. Have a look at it, read through it. I've done the exact same task as you. Then have a look at yours again and see where you can make improvements. Have a look on this section and which letters you've been given for improvements. I will set this today, but you have until the deadline that I'm going to put on here to make these improvements. It is up to you when you do this and in how much time you do it. So you could break down the time, 10 minutes here one day, 20 minutes another day, or you might be someone who likes to do it all in one go. It's really up to you. You will then resubmit it. Even if you've got a level 9, I will stretch and challenge you further to work at an A-level standard. So I guarantee everyone has some feedback. Respond to the feedback, and I look forward to seeing how you make improvements.